You know, the enemy's always going to try to isolate you. He's always going to try to lead you into the wilderness. He's always going to try to get you alone, because if he can get you alone, then he can get you away from everyone who's going to speak truth into your life. And sometimes it works. And sometimes we are smack dab in the middle of loneliness and isolation, and it just feels really hard and lonely and cold. But let me tell you the good news. God uses everything that the enemy does for our good. What the enemy meant for isolation, God uses for incubation. He will use these seasons where you're separated from everyone and everything, and he will use them to grow you. When the enemy separates you and he gets you alone, that's when he turns the heat up. That's when you start noticing the spiritual warfare and the attacks on your mind, all of those thoughts that come in telling you you're crazy, right? But when he's got you separated and he's cranked the heat on up, that's when God slams the door shut and he says, good, now I'm going to use this thing as an incubator, and you just watch what comes out of it. Romans 8:28 is my favorite verse of all time. It says, we know that God works for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. If you love God, if you are working towards the purposes that God has for your life, then anything that the enemy can throw at you is just going to backfire. You realize he can't stop you, because even when you feel knocked down, even when you feel like he's winning, that's when God uses it against him. He uses his own strategy against him for your benefit. So you know what? Let him. Let him attack you. Let him get you isolated. Let him get you alone. But you don't stop there. You don't sit in it. You don't wallow in it. You don't throw a pity party. Okay? Promise me that. What you do during this time is you partner with God, and you use this for your growth. And if you need resources for that growth, I have a couple. First of all, the Bible is a great place to start, using your word to armor you up. And I also have a book that I've written called 7 Days to a Life of Limitless. It is all about all of the lessons that God has taught me over the last 3 years to help me get to where I'm at. So if you're interested in that, that's available on Amazon, and you can find it in my profile.